Alright guys, what is up? This is Revified or Brandon. You can call me Brandon or Revified. A lot of people can't really pronounce my name when they read it, but that's it. Some people say like Reevy feed. You know, something weird. But yeah, that's my name. Brandon. And yeah, today this is my first MotoVlog, and I'm going to be talking about my experience learning how to ride and my experience buying my first motorcycle. So I've had this motorcycle for about 2 months now. Let's see, going on 2 months. I got it about right after my 20th birthday, which was on 15th of February. And I got it when it had 2,026 miles, I think. And it's got, if I can try to show you, 2,444. So put about 400 miles on it, 420. And yeah, it's been great so far. I love this bike. It's a 2014 Honda CB500F. It's the so there's the CB500F or the CB500R or the 300F and the 300R and so on and so forth. The F is the naked style bike, so it doesn't have any other front fairings up here or anything like that. And the R is like the more sports bike. You're more hunched over, and yeah, this one you're not hunched over, you're more upright. And I'm a bigger guy, and I sat on the I sat on a Ninja 650, I think, and I was just like that the whole time, and it was just, oh, it was uncomfortable. And yeah, so I'll talk about going and getting this bike. I had a previous bike before this, because I made it my plan to buy a motorcycle this year when I got taxes. And I got my taxes, and I was on Facebook one day and saw that there was a $500 motorcycle. I think it's $500, and it was like a Baja BV 250. I don't know, it was a Pep Boys bike. It was a piece of crap. I don't even want to go into it, but I went and bought that bike, had it for a week. It didn't have a front brake. Newbie riding without a front brake, only rear brake. Bad idea. I mean, I didn't crash or anything, but that is sketchy. Don't ever do it. And yeah, so I had that bike, and I went and I had it, like I said, down the front brake. I bought a new master cylinder thingy, which is like that guy on the new handles, off Amazon, and I took it to the shop right around the corner from my house and wanted to see if they could fix it or see if that was even the problem. And they said, yeah, it was the master cylinder. And they were like, but we also got some bad news. Your intake manifold is cracked, which means the pipe, sorry, I'm choking myself here, the pipe which sucks in the air was cracked, so it was sucking in a lot more air than it's supposed to, which in return the bike was overcompensating gas and dumping fuel to make up for the massive air suction. So I mean, it wasn't getting good miles per gallon, and it was just, like I said, didn't have a front brake. It was a piece of junk all around. But yeah, so they told me that news, and so I went and got kind of scared, I'd say. And after that, like literally that same day, I went down to my bank and tried to get a loan for a new motorcycle, which is this, and it happened. They gave me $3,500. Next day I picked it up before work. It's a smaller credit union, and it wasn't even my bank, it's my fiance's bank that she has her car through. And but they've been so good about her car, so I went and applied there. I applied at like 4:30. They closed at 5. They closed at 5:30, I think. And they said, oh yeah, we'll give you an answer hopefully today, if not tomorrow. And I called them like right before they closed and bugged them, and they're like, oh, well, I'll have to call you tomorrow. And you know, for some reason I'm just impatient, and I just want things like now. I think a lot of guys are like that, some women too, but so I called them and they were like, yeah, I don't have an answer, we'll give you a call tomorrow. And then like 10 minutes later, after they were closed, mind you, they gave me a call and said, hey, we got you approved, come in, you'll have to come in tomorrow and sign the paperwork because we're closed. I was like, okay, well, I work at 9 and they open at 9. And she's like, well, I'll be here at like 8:45, come in, sign your paperwork. And so they didn't open before they opened, but they did some paperwork before they were actually open, and gave me $3,500. So I got my money, went to work, started searching on the interweb at work, trying to find a bike. I'm in Washington, which is like 50 minutes north of Portland, Oregon. So I was looking down in Oregon, and you don't have to pay tax down there. Well, it doesn't matter because you get screwed on taxes in Washington because you have to pay. It's I don't even want to get into it. It's so stupid. But yeah. So I found the bike. Well, no, I found a brand new 2016 CB300F. And so my buddy at work who's had a motorcycle told me, like, you need to find out what the out the door price is going to be, because what's listed isn't what you're going to pay leaving. So I called them, and like it was a 300, and I'm glad I didn't get a 300 because I'm a big guy and I would have outgrown it. So I went and I called them and it was listed for like $34.99 or something. I was like, oh, perfect, dude, I'll get $1. I'll keep $1. So I called them and I'm like, okay, what's the out the door price if I come pick it up today, cash money? And they were like, with title and all this and all that, it's like $4,200. I'm like, mother trucker. I was like, man, dude, that sucks. I had itchy nose. Okay, there we go. I was like, what? $4,200, and I was kind of bummed out. And then I kept looking, and I found this other place down in Salem, Oregon, which is like 2 hours away. And I called them, and they had this 2014 CB500F, 2,000 miles on it. And I called them, and I said, out the door price, what is it? And they said, it was listed at $4,000. And they said $4,000. And I'm like, well, I got $500 extra in my bank, I'll do it. I said, all right, I'll be there. They closed, I don't know what time they closed. But they closed they closed late, or not late, but I don't know. I'm from fucking, this guy's gonna ride my ass. Oh, I hate when people do that. In turn. Okay, anyways. So I was like, I got off started work at 9, got off at 5:30. It was 2 hours away. I wasn't gonna make it. So I found the bike, and then I went up to, I'm just impatient. It was a Friday, I think, and they weren't gonna be open the next day, or it was Saturday. I don't know what day it was exactly, but I know I was just trying to justify it, okay? So it's like 1:30. I walk up to my manager, or a manager, and I say, hey, I'm not feeling good, can I go home? And he's like, oh yeah, sure, go ahead. So I go home, and my other coworker, which I don't want to get into that because he's someone I look up to, and he's kind of pissed at me for the whole situation, which he has every right to be. But so I told him, because he's got a truck, and I said, hey, will you take me? And he's like, yeah. And he got off at like 2 or something, and I went home at 1:30, and I had figured that he would sit at work and talk, because he does that. And so I waited until like 2:30 to text him, and I was like, hey, can you take me? And he's like, yeah, or something like that. And then I guess as I was texting him, he was talking to the manager that sent me home, and he said, the manager just happened to say, oh, what are you about to go do? And he said, oh, I'm gonna go give Brandon a ride down to Salem to pick up a motorcycle. And then I guess my manager, you can just imagine how it would go. I asked to go home sick. My manager just found out that somebody's gonna go take me to get a motorcycle. Not only am I in shit, but he's also in shit. And it was just not a good experience. It was dumb, and the car ride was really awkward. But I mean, I'm glad that happened. Like I said, I was in a rush. I should have been honest with him, because that's usually not who I am. Like, honesty gets you a long way. But if I just looked at it like, if they would have said no, I would have been losing out on a motorcycle, and I was just eager to get one. And I don't know, but they weren't happy about it, and it was stupid. It was stupid of me to do. But I mean, hey, what can you say? I do a lot of stupid stuff, and but hey, you learn from it. Don't lie to your managers again, because they will find out. But so yeah, I did that, went and picked it up, which was super cool of him to take me all the way down there. It was like a 4-hour drive altogether, I think, at night. And yeah, it was, but I'm glad we did, because I got this bad boy. While I was there, they had this Ninja 3, they had this bike out waiting for me, because I told them I was going to come pick it up. So they had this bike waiting for me, sitting there and everything. And then I was like, okay, well, when I first sat on this bike, it just felt kind of weird, right? And so I was like, oh, can I check out your other used bikes, I guess, just to see? Because I mean, I did there's not a lot of reviews on this bike, but I mean, it's 500, and it was my style. I don't really like the sports bike. But then they had a Ninja 300, and they had like around the same amount of miles, if not less. And they wanted I think they wanted $2 grand, 2,500 or something. And I was like, okay, well, if I get that, then I'll have a lot of money left over. So I was like, I sat on that bike, and I was like, oh, I kind of like how this feels. And then they had another one like this. So they had this same bike, same year and everything, but the other bike had 20,000 miles on it. Some cheap Amazon handlebars, or not handlebars, but brake levers and stuff, and some weird, they had a different exhaust, I think. And they wanted 3,500, and this one with 2,000 miles, they wanted $4 grand, which I don't get how they justify 18,000 miles for $5,000 or $500. But I sat on that one, I was like, oh, I kind of like this. Can I test ride them? And they were like, oh yeah, absolutely. And then so I test rode this one first, because this was the one I went to go look at, and the throttle, it was just responsive, and I was like, oh yeah, dude, I like this. But I had to give the Ninja a shot, and I was like, okay, I'll test ride this. I test rode the Ninja, and it was a 300. I literally topped it out in the parking lot. Like, it, not topped it out like speed wise, but I just, like, you can just feel yourself like I'm gonna outgrow that bike quick. And I was like, yep, I'm getting the 500. So went inside, did the paperwork, tried to negotiate. The dude that did the paperwork was a-hole. The guy that sold me the bike was super chill, but the other guy, I don't really like him. I'm not a fan of him, and he's on my not so good list. Oh look, there's a police car coming. I got the same kind of car, bud. Yeah, I drive a Crown Vic. You guys will see that soon, eventually. But yeah. So I did the paperwork, loaded this boy up, and went down and drove it home. Rode it home in the rain from, like, it was like 2 mile drive, I think. Yeah, rode it home in the rain, and that was that. I mean, it was fun, to say the least. And I got my first bike, dude. I was stoked. Anyways, but so that was the experience behind this. Like I said, it's a 2014 Honda CB500F, and I love it. It does exactly what I need to do. It's not heavy, it's nimble, and yeah. So that's my first bike. I'll talk about my experience learning how to ride. My first time ever using a shifter. Well, when I was little, my cousin had dirt bikes, but they had he had a shifter one, but his old one when he was younger, he had an automatic still, and I rode that. So I mean, I rode a dirt bike a little bit, and that's a cop doing radar, maybe, can't tell. Maybe the speed limit's like 40 and I'm doing 30 because I'm scared. I don't see him. He's probably hanging out with the firefighters, wishing he could be one. Just kidding. I think it's the other way around. Yeah, so I kind of knew how to ride a bike. A couple years ago, I had a quad, and that taught me I taught myself how to shift on it. So I mean, I was kind of used to shifting, but it's not something that I did all the time. And I knew how to drive like a manual car or whatever. Yeah, so I mean, I kind of knew a little bit. Last summer, my buddy that I worked with and I went to school with, he had a motorcycle that he just got, and he actually was cool enough to let me ride it a little bit in our high school parking lot. So I mean, he let me get a second gear, and I was kind of nervous because for some reason I had like anxiety about doing a wheelie or something and falling. So I was kind of scared about it, but I mean, it wasn't too bad, and like it was just I loved the feeling. I just literally got up to like 25 miles an hour. So yeah, that was my experience riding that. And then I mean, I've had this bike for about a month and a half now, and I mean, I've rode it for 300 miles, 400 miles, and I mean, that's really all I've done. I mean, I've kind of taught myself. I just took my I had my permit. I think my permit was expired for a little bit. God forgive me for riding around without a permit. You didn't hear that? I'm in Mexico right now. And so Saturday I went and took my skills test and got my actual license now, so I don't have to worry about the permit. But that was pretty easy. The only thing I missed, which I'm surprised because I don't know, I have like test anxiety too a little bit, and I was kind of nervous the whole time, but I did great on everything. And there was this part that you had to do a corner. You had to take a corner. There's a straightaway that leads to another corner, and on the straightaway you had to get up to 20 miles an hour, and I think I did like 18 miles an hour, and he knocked me on that. And he's like, that doesn't matter because I mean, I passed anyways. But that's literally the only thing I missed, which I'm surprised because I'm usually a speed demon. And yeah, so I mean, that's that. I've been learning how to ride on this. Gone on the freeway. The freeway is a little sketchy because I think it's because I don't have like all the fairings like a sport bike does, you know. And so I mean, there's a lot of blowback, but I mean, I just like cruising around town and going on like the back roads and stuff. Anyways, I mean, this will go on the freeway, no problem. It's just a little windy, but I haven't ridden on a nice, like I've rode on a nice summer day, but not on the freeway yet, so the wind might be different. Literally on Saturday the weather was like 75 degrees, nice and sunny, and it's April, and today, this morning, it snowed. So now, are you seriously gonna they look you right in the eyes too, and that's the thing that you have to learn. No, but you're invisible. Literally, she looked me in the eyes and reached down into my soul and said, "I'm gonna kill you today." And that's the only problem with motorcycles, is no one sees you. That is like the 10th time, and I've only been riding for a month and a half, and that is like the 10th time that someone's almost killed me. And they always look you dead in the eyes, and they still pull out. They're like, "Oh yeah, you don't exist. If I just pull out, you're just gonna do like 10 somersaults. I'll give you a 10 on the flips, but you're probably gonna die." And yeah, so that's that. I mean, learning how to ride, it's fun. It's a blast. It is like the most freeing feeling in the world. But you have to remember that you're invisible to everybody, except for motorcycles, because most of the time they wave to you. But I don't know. I pass a lot of Harley guys, and they're like, oh yeah, we're too tough. Get a real bike, son. I'm not gonna wait with you. And yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Being on it's weird because I mean, it's not weird, but you have a helmet, so you're kind of people don't know who you are, so you're just kind of, for me, it like brings out the best in me, I think, because I'm just like go lucky, and it just makes me want to be nice and stuff, and like it just like do this and, you know, just mess around with people. And I mean, it makes you should be a nice person if you're on a motorcycle, and don't give them bad names. Quoting Bo, because Bo told me, Bo's my buddy, my co-worker, and he said don't give motorcycles bad names. But yeah, so I mean, people don't really know who you are, so it's good to be, I don't know, it brings out, when people know who you are, you're kind of, I'm like an insecure type person, but on this, like, people don't know who I am, so I can be whatever I want to be, I guess, if that makes any sense. And yeah, so I mean, that's about that. I hope you guys like this video, and please give me more comments and suggestions on things I should talk about. But yeah, I think this was really fun, and I'm looking forward to doing this more often, so hopefully I get some good topics and things to talk about from you guys. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And my light's green and you're kind of loud, truck. And yeah, leave a like if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't, because there's gonna be a lot more, and I'm looking forward to seeing myself and this channel grow from this experience. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you guys have an amazing, awesome day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Nope.